You're listening to the Big Ideas Podcast with Ashlee Ilg. Tune in for honest conversations as we pursue bold dreams, redefine what is possible, and empower the next generation to live big. You'll hear stories that prove over and over again that just because something wasn't a part of our plan doesn't mean it won't be used for our good. Whether you're already an entrepreneur, you dream of becoming one, or you're raising the next generation of entrepreneurs, this podcast is for you. There's no time to waste on your big ideas. So let's get started. Here's your host, Ashlee Ilg.
Hey friends, welcome back to the Big Ideas Podcast. This is the launch of season 4. I'm so excited for this new season. This whole season is really designed to give you a blueprint of starting a business from scratch and going all the way through to bring this business idea to life. And I'm so excited for the next 10 episodes. We are just going to be going through everything you need to know. And I'm going to get into sort of the framework of all the episodes. But if you have been following along for any amount of time, you know that I recently published the Future CEO Playbook, which if you're watching this episode, you can see it here. Got it here with me in the studio, of course. But it's a 9-module workbook designed to help young entrepreneurs and really any aged entrepreneurs is what I've realized in the course of launching this book. There's really no age limit to starting a business and using this workbook and these modules. I mean, success is success. Business principles work, but the playbook was designed and the language and everything are geared more toward the middle and high school aged student. But my husband will be the first one to tell you that he has definitely used these same principles. We have used these same principles and steps to build multiple businesses over the last 20 plus years. And so, yes, it is designed for the young entrepreneur, but if you're watching or listening to this and you're like, hey, I don't know, if I'm too old for this or whatever, let me just tell you, you would definitely find value in what the workbook goes through as well. But this podcast season is definitely meant to accompany the playbook. I realize as I've been, people have been working through the workbook and using it and getting their businesses started and launched, there's so much more that we can kind of dig into and dig a little deeper into. And that's why I was like, I'm going to do a whole season on the podcast that really just helps me just give even more in-depth knowledge and framework and just skills and mindsets toward building a business that really lasts. And so that's the intention for this whole season, these 10 episodes. And like I said, if you don't have the playbook or if you're waiting for it to come in the mail still, you can just use a regular notebook. You can use just, grab some paper, pen, pencil, whatever you like to use for notes. You're going to want to work through some things as we're going through these episodes. You're going to want to be taking notes. It's a real time, like push, pause, brainstorm, get some steps done. I'll give you like some homework assignments at the end of each episode. So you're going to want something to write with, something to write on, something to keep with you for progress. So you can kind of keep coming back to it and building from it. Of course, the playbook is the best resource. As I said, this whole episode, this whole season is meant to accompany the playbook. So they'll work hand in hand. It'll be super streamlined for you if you just want the playbook itself. And you can find that on my website. It's ashleeilg.com/playbook. I'll also include the link, of course, in the show notes for you to find it super easy. But we've had some great feedback for those who have used it and are using it. And it's so exciting to me. And I think, y'all know I'm so passionate about entrepreneurship and teaching entrepreneurship and just the lifestyle and the opportunities that having a business and growing businesses allows us. And as a mom and specifically a homeschooling mom, I've realized that traditional education and as a professional myself back in the day when I worked in corporate, I went to college, I did all the things. And as we launched ourselves into entrepreneurship in our early 20s, we just realized, there's no education, there's no like traditional education path that teaches entrepreneurship as much as, more of like a corporate traditional job scenario. And so as I've been raising our own children, I've realized this is a huge gap. And of course, in talking with other parents who either have entrepreneurial minded children or they're just ambitious and creative and they just want to know what all the opportunities are, they don't know where to start. And so it's just been this huge need that I'm like, you know what, I I love this. I'm passionate about this. I want to create some more educational resources for my own children, but then also for the community at large that just are also raising entrepreneurial minded children, young adults who just want to know what the opportunities are out there and how to do it, and just kind of break down some walls, maybe change some mindsets, maybe get rid of some of the mystery behind it. Because I think when there's no confusion, there's no mystery, and we can see clearly what the path at least involves, we can decide if we want to pursue it or not. And so that's really the goal with the playbook, yes, but then specifically with this podcast season is really just to continue educating, continue providing resources where either you or your students can just continue to just grow and learn and just experience more entrepreneurship opportunities. And again, just going back to using those creative gifts and talents that we've all been given to just make the most of it and just have long-term success, So like I said, this season will really reflect the 9 modules that are in the CEO playbook, the workbook. And we're going to go from today's topic is going to be, what is your big idea? It's going to be a big brainstorming. I'm going to give you some questions and things to think about and really hone in on what your business idea is, or maybe what a couple of them might be. And we'll get into that. But the next several episodes, like I said, this is going to be a 10 episode season. We're going to go all the way through even like a growth mindset and having that CEO mindset and habits to designing your brand and your logo, coming up with a marketing strategy, figuring out what your profit and your loss is, figuring out like investments versus costs. We're going to actually launch our business. We're going to figure out the long-term like customer service, how to create repeatable, ongoing customers, creating ongoing repeatable systems so that when you have done something well, you don't have to continue to do it times 100 as your business grows. You can create some systems in place to duplicate yourself. We're going to do a lot of celebrating along the way. We're going to be figuring out a lot of the profit, a whole business plan you'll walk away with by the time you finish the playbook. And of course, as you go through these podcast seasons. And so we're going to deep dive into a lot of big topics. And like I said, you can expect to go from, I don't have any ideas, I don't know where to start, to, oh my gosh, I have a business, I'm excited about it, and I know exactly what to do now. So that is the goal with this season. And I'm so excited about it. So without further ado, let me just jump right in to today's episode, which is really what is your big idea. And like I said, maybe you have an idea already, maybe you have a few of them, or maybe you don't have anywhere to, you don't have any ideas yet. And that's okay. Wherever you land with that, it's totally fine. That's what we're here for today. So, I've got a couple questions I want you to think about because I think this will help hone in on what your best ideas are, right? So your first question to think about, and again, this is in the playbook if you want to be going through it and filling this out as we go, or grab your notebook and be thinking about this. But what do you already love doing? What are already some of your hobbies, things that interest you, things that come easily to you? Like if you have a day off or you've got just some free time, what is it that you spend your time wanting to do? Is it something that's creative? Do you like crafting? Do you like baking? Do you like writing music? Do you like doing things like computer programming or just technical things? Do you like writing? Do you like selling things, online sales or in-person sales? What things are already exciting and fun for you to do? That is a huge indicator of where your talents, where your skills lie. And I will promise you, if you love doing the work and creating the product or creating the service with this business idea, it will just make it so much more fun, right? I mean, if you're trying to show up and do something that you have zero interest in and you have no interest in and like no real talent or affinity towards, it's going to be a lot harder to build a business around it. So think about things that you're already good at, that you already love spending time doing. And then what is something or some things that people are already asking you to help them with, or things that people already associate you with, that you already have maybe some credibility in doing. You've got some experience doing. My son, one of my sons is very well known for doing technical coding, programming, video editing, multimedia technical things, soundboards, lights, online editing, things like that. So he has a lot of friends that ask him to help with those sort of things, right? And he loves doing it. Another son loves creating artwork, and people know this. And so when they're looking for a design, they ask him for input, So think about things that people are already asking you to do or for your input in, that you've already got some credibility in that area. And third, what is a problem that you feel like you can solve? Or put it in another way, what's a problem that a lot of people experience that would find value if you helped them solve it, right? Hey friend, quick pause before we keep going. As you know, this season of the Big Ideas podcast is all about building ideas, confidence, leadership, and real-world skills our kids can actually use. And if you've been listening thinking, wow, I wish I had something like this when I was growing up, I did too, which is why I created the Future CEO Playbook. It's a hands-on guide designed to help kids think like problem solvers, build and test ideas, understand money, communicate clearly, and take initiative with faith, purpose, and creativity at the center. You can order the spiral-bound workbook at ashleeilg.com or the paperback version on Amazon. Both are designed to be worked through interactively, so kids can write, plan, build, and reflect as they go. If this season has you inspired, the playbook helps you put it into action. All right, let's get back to the show. Again, back to my son who does video editing or, computer troubleshooting, things like that. Well, there's a common issue with, phone service or whatever, and he can help them do that, right? So think about what is a problem, even if it's like, not necessarily like a problem, but it's something that you can do better. Something as simple as, I would like fresh flowers for special events that I host regularly, and there's no local florist nearby, or they don't have really unique arrangements, and I'd really like to find somewhere that, provides that. So that's not necessarily like a world problem or something, but it's a problem that somebody would like help with, and they would find value if you were the one that offered that to them. So maybe you create a business, you love flowers, you have a garden, you love tending to all of those things, you have a real eye for the colors and the arrangements, and you're very knowledgeable in different types of flowers. And so you create a floral business, and you now offer great flower arrangements in your local community, and it's more unique, maybe a better price, whatever your niche is going to be. So again, it doesn't have to be like a crazy problem, like a crisis, but a situation where somebody would find value if you help them do something better, if you help solve some inconvenience, maybe would be a better way to put that in their life. So the 3 questions again. Number 1, what are you already doing, what are you doing that's like, what is interesting to you, and what are you already good at? Number 2, what do people already seek you for that you've got credibility in helping them with something? And number 3, what problem have you encountered or that other people have encountered that you could help solve? So when you put all those ideas together, just brainstorm on that for a little bit. And here's what I'd like to add for right now in this episode. Treat this next couple minutes as just a brain dump, right? If you actually want to hit pause at this point in the episode, that's amazing. Like that's totally fine. Because I'd love for you to just have some time to just literally don't edit your thoughts, don't overthink it. Just the first ideas that come to your mind, just make a huge list, right? It doesn't have to just be one. Don't try to filter out your ideas at this point. This is a brainstorm. I like to call it a brain dump. You just literally take all the raw ideas, raw content from your imagination and just dump it onto the paper. We'll sift through it, sort through it, make it make sense or get rid of it in a future episode, or at least by the end of this one. And just put all those ideas on paper. There's no wrong ideas at this point. I will also add a little warning at this point as well. There's a phrase that my writing coach, Mary Morantz, I think she coined this. It's called the research riptide. And it's a very dangerous point to be in this very early point of brainstorming and coming up with ideas and just seeking for that creativity and that initial inspiration for your ideas. And I want to caution you on it because there is a difference between, you've probably heard of like market research and things like that, where you want to kind of figure out like what's already going on in the market, what's happening in the industry, what are some comparable products or services or businesses that I'm kind of thinking of as we, and that will be helpful as we down the road are trying to figure out profit and maybe some niche points and aspects of our business. But right now in this creative brain dump, the research is not what we're trying to do right now. And so I would would just, caution you that if you are this is most likely when this is going to happen. And so just don't, don't let your brain talk you out of these great ideas yet, or at all, really, but definitely not at this point. The research riptide will just literally pull you right out of the game before you get started. And what that shows up as is, I really like the idea of, making bracelets. Oh, well, this is research. This is the voice of the research riptide. So you can kind of recognize it. Your idea is, I love making bracelets, or I love making jewelry. Oh, well, there's so many jewelry companies already out there. You won't be any different than anybody else. Somebody's already doing this. Many people are already doing this better than you. You won't have a place in the market. You won't be able to afford the beads that you really want to do. Blah, 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 blah. And so you can see how it just kind of spirals out of, something that was really exciting and fun and interesting to you, all of a sudden just gets swept away, washed away in the research riptide before you even had a chance to start. And all of those concerns, so to speak, can completely be addressed, like I said, in future modules, in future episodes here, where of course there's going to be other products and businesses similar to yours. I mean, look around. There's so much competition in so many different industries, so many different product lines, but that's what makes businesses great. I mean, that's what makes the marketing so important. That's what makes the competition so healthy and keeps prices, honest, and all of those things. And so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I do want to warn you at this point, if you start feeling the concerns, the questions, and the doubts, just ignore them. That's not what this point of the brain dump is. So also, if you feel like you're getting a little bit stuck, or you can't think of the ideas or any ideas, this is a trick that you can use throughout this entire season. Throughout your entire life. But it's, push pause and just do a couple jumping jacks. Take 10 seconds, take a minute, just jog in place, do some jumping jacks, just do something to move your arms and your legs. There's a fun fact that when you move your limbs, it actually activates the limbic part of your brain, which is where all of your creative ideas come from. And so if you ever feel like you just have this brain block, or this creative, just stuck feeling of I just can't think of the next thing, pause, move your body, move your limbs, walk, jumping jacks, jog in place. I would do it with you right now in the studio if I had a little bit more room. And I already did mine for the day, but it will like I said, it will activate that limbic part of your brain, and you'll just, your creativity will just fire right back off. It's amazing. So trust me on that. So like I said, if you want to push pause, don't let the research riptide take you over. Make sure you come right back to this and do some jumping jacks if you need to get the creative blood flowing. But we are going to just write down all the ideas that come to us. We've got to get a good grasp of what our big idea is. And when the worlds collide of what are you already good at, what are you already interested in, and how does that also come together with a problem that other people would find value in you solving, bam, we've got ourselves a business idea. So take some time, think through that. And when we come back, I would love for you to have nailed down one idea, completely crystallized. You've got a really great idea of what that's going to look like. So by the time we come back for episode 2, I want you to have really crystallized one true good big idea that we can move forward, that we can use as we continue to go through these episodes and really build out this business around this idea. So take some time. I want you to create a little pitch statement, and I'm going to give you some framework for that here in a sec. But that's what your homework is before we come back, is really just take everything we've talked about here, think about the best idea, run it past a family member, friend, parent, a mentor, or a teacher, get some feedback on that. And here's the pitch statement I want you to give to them, right? So this would be my pitch statement if when I was all done with my brainstorming and the flower arrangement business was what I really decided was the best fit for moving forward, this would be my pitch statement, or an example of one. There's obviously all kinds of variations, but you're going to say, "Hi, I'm Ashlee, and I'm building a business called Ashlee's Florals. I help my neighbors who are looking for fresh, organic, beautiful flowers." So here's an example of a pitch statement, and I'll use the floral arrangement business as if that was going to be my business moving forward, just as an example. And there's different variations of this, but basically the framework is going to be, hi, what your name is, what your business is called, who you help, what you're offering, and why it matters to you. And we'll get into why that part of your story matters, but just put a little pin in that mentally necessarily at this point, but you are going to want to know why this matters to you and what problem you're solving with your business idea. So here would be an example of a pitch statement with the floral arrangement, right? Hi, my name is Ashlee, and I am starting a business called Ashlee's Florals. I'm so excited to offer my community and my neighbors fresh local stems grown here, all of the best, freshest flowers for centerpieces, for home decor, for special events that I can help do centerpieces and other arrangements for. This business idea is really important to me because it reminds me of when I was a kid and my mom and my grandmother helped me learn how to prune flowers and grow different flowers. And it just makes me have all the nostalgia in the world for that. And it's so special to me. And it's a way to honor my mom and my grandmother in this business. Something like that, right? Something short, sweet. I want you to share that pitch statement with, like I said, a parent, friend, some siblings, a teacher or a coach, and get some honest feedback. And we'll see you on the next episode. So get your big idea nailed down, and then we'll see you on the next episode. Hey friends, thanks so much for tuning in today. Before you go, it would mean the world to me and my family if you would share this episode with at least one person who you think might benefit from this message. And of course, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. You can also follow me at Ashlee Ilg on Instagram to keep up with our adventures and for continued encouragement as you pursue your big ideas. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time.